a little bit. I wrote down 5 players' names. 5 players' names that I think are going to have breakout years. 5 players that I'm expecting them to up their game. Let's start at 5. I got Jordan Mailata. It's time. It's time to solidify yourself as a perennial all-pro. Let's go, kid. We have the talent. They have built you. You have Jeff Stoutland. You're on the best offensive line in the NFL, and you're in a system that's conducive to you getting better. He's a really good ball player. I expect him to be better than Eric Williams. This kid's got Hall of Fame talent. It's time. And some go, Sills, still learning the game. I get it. I do. I get it. Who's the tight end that played with Phillip Rivers with the Chargers? Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates had never played organized football. Do you know that? He was a college basketball player. And he showed up at a camp, a camp that Marty Schottenheimer invited him to. He goes, you ever caught a football? He goes, just fooling around. Throw him some passes. Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers are throwing passes to the kid. Jesus. That guy's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Why? He played around great players. Okay? He's playing around great players. You got Goddard on your left. You got Dickerson on your right. Dude, let's go. And I say this with respect. He is really a good player, but I think he's got potential. Let me make a comparison who I think he can be. I think he could be better than Trey Thomas. He's not going to be better than the other 2 guys. And I think Trey's a great player. Okay? I do. I have great respect for Trey Thomas. I think Jordan Mailata can be better than him. I think that injury in that Jet preseason game, I think that had a lot to do with the way he played, especially early on. So Jordan Mailata is one of my 5 guys that I want to see lift their game up. Because I think he's got, and by the way, every single one of these guys has the tools or the skill set to make this happen. Kyle goes, Trey Thomas is the enforcer. Kyle, every single time I see Jalen Hurts get hit late or somebody does something stupid to him, who's the first guy that's in their face? Seems to be Jordan Mailata, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem to be Jordan Mailata? I'll tell you what, Jordan Mailata wasn't very happy with that hit in that Jets preseason game, was he? Every time I see somebody getting crazy around him, the first guy I see over there getting ready to throw hands is Jordan Mailata. That's another reason I like him. I think this guy's got a great attitude, too. I'll tell you this, man. That nice attitude he has, that singing attitude, I'll make a point to you, man. I think that dude, I think that's one of those guys that's one of them sleeping giant guys. Don't piss him off too bad because he might destroy you. At number 4, these are 5 players I want to see step their game up. Funny, I see somebody say Jordan Davis. I don't know Jordan Davis is going to be able to step his game up. I just need Jordan Davis to be able to play 17 games. I don't think he can step his game up. He's who he is. You guys are expecting him to be Jerome Brown. He's not. He doesn't have that skill set. That's not who he is. If you're expecting 14 TFLs and 13, that will never happen with that player. He is kind of who he is. What I need him to be is in shape. Because they're going to need him. He's a great run stopper, but that's kind of what it is. You guys are expecting him to be something he's not. If you're expecting that, you're going to be very disappointed this year. Okay? Arthur goes, Jordan Davis will make a huge leap. When has he ever? Name me 1 year in his career he's made a giant leap. In his 5 years of football, over the last 5 years, what year did he make a giant leap? What year? What year was that? Please point it out to me. Okay, you can make all the excuses you want. How about this? I ain't seen it yet, and I don't think I'll ever see it. Okay? I'll tell you what, that age thing, I saw Michael Parsons at 21, and he didn't look like he had a problem. I saw that Aiden Hutchinson kid. He didn't look like he had a problem. Shit, I even saw the kid from Purdue in Kansas City. He didn't have a problem. Those guys showed up and played. I don't know, man. How about this? You think Sauce Gardner? How old is he, Yale? He's 21 too, isn't he? Hey, who was taken higher? Was Sauce Gardner? Please tell me Sauce Gardner was drafted higher than Jordan Davis. Was he? Was Sauce Gardner? He had to have been. He had to have been. People do develop differently. What pick was Sauce Gardner? Please tell me he was a higher. He has to have been. Defensive player. He had to have been. Gardner was 4th. Okay. Davis was 13th. Okay. Thank God. Okay. Thank God. Here is the 4th player that Big Sills is looking for a breakout year. I think you're going to be shocked. I got Nakobe Dean. I went back and watched some YouTube on him. I'll tell you, here's the positives. And I looked at some of the games, the limited action that he had last year, and his college tape that he has at Georgia. He plays like Bob Sanders. That's why he gets hurt. He's the linebacking version of Bob Sanders. He has a physical mentality, but not a physical body. It can't last. So it's not a skill set thing, which is great. Like Nakobe Dean's failure in the NFL, if there's going to be, will be because he's not built big enough. And he doesn't have the physical size to last 17 ball games. Now, if you're the Eagles, how do you get 5 years out of him? Because right now, I don't see that guy playing more than 5 years. How can I get more than 5 out of it? I think the drafting of Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter have a lot to do with all of that as they plug that in. You put him behind those two guys like he played at Georgia. He was pretty effective. He moved them around a lot. He communicated with the both of them. There's a built-in communication between Davis and Carter that goes back to their college days, and they performed really well when they were all on the same page. They really scouted this mentality of wanting to make the triangle work. One of the things that I told you when I was doing that show with Barrett, one of the most important things that you have to have in a defense okay? One of the most important things you have to have in a defense is your triangle, your two tackles and your middle linebacker have to be talented players because it's the heart of your defense. Because teams are going to challenge Philadelphia this year, not on the perimeter. Why would I throw against your corners? Why would I do that? If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, you know how I'm going to beat you? The same way I beat you 2 years ago. I'm going to run the ball for 200 yards on you. And then I'm going to make high percentage passes in the second half because your linebacking core is not that hot. Very predictable. And that was the problem with Jonathan Gannon. And that's why you're hearing guys now saying this. What? What are they saying now? Hey, we're going to be more versatile and we're going to do more things this year. You became too predictable. Dude, beating the Philadelphia, if you're a really high-end quarterback, no high-end quarterback struggled against Philly. Nobody did. Everyone had high percentage nights. Actually, for 2 years in a row. They had high percentage ball games. Shit, stupid Andy Dalton had 88% against you. I mean, Gannon's system was so Seth said it yesterday. The predictability of what he was doing, right? You didn't really need to have an offensive game plan. You just needed to challenge certain areas of the team. And how did hey, if you look at those Washington Commander numbers and how they beat the Eagles, very pedestrian. They were very pedestrian. Okay? Very pedestrian. And you're like, where they won first down. They won first down. Yeah, and Dak destroyed you. So did Andy Dalton. So did Tyler Heineke. I guarantee you, if I line Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, 2 years Jonathan Gannon ran that defense, every single big-time quarterback, okay, the Packers, Rodgers didn't have a great game. Everyone else did. Owned you. Owned. Here. Got to do something here. I'm sorry, I'm Jonathan Gannon, but I got to sign over owner. Hang on for a second. I'll get into why, Dean. I got to sign. Sorry. JM goes Cousins, the high-end quarterback. Here, I got to sign over ownership papers of the Philadelphia Eagles defense to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. Who else? Dak. Garoppolo. Jesus, Derek Carr. And Derek Carr, I think, went for 90% completion percentage. There's just too many guys. I'm going to have to get into denim to the Eagle defense. Sorry. I'm going to have to wait there. So let me continue. Dean, to me, man, up in his game, I don't know if it's about up in his game. I haven't quite seen his game. He's going to be the most, would we not agree? He's the most interesting player in the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles starting lineup. Would you agree? He's the most interesting player. And what I mean by interesting, whatever you want to fill it in with. Not know, unknown. Dean might be the whole key to your defense. Okay? I think this is unfair where I'm going here for my third player. I think this is unfair. But I'm going to put it here. My breakout player in 2023 for the Eagles. Number 3, I got Nolan Smith here. I love this kid. The way Seth was talking yesterday, he made it seem like he thought that the Eagles would use him more situationally, but he loved the idea of what I said to you guys by having those two missiles on the field together, having Reddick and him, okay, on the field together, and then having Brandon Graham and Sweat set the edge, and then having Fletcher and Jalen Carter in the middle in there. And you got those two missiles coming off the corners. And you have that 4-3 in open space, and you just blitz the shit out of Reddick. Can I tell you what I would do also with Reddick? If I'm Sean Desai, I move him around more. Like the Steelers move TJ Watts around. I would move him around. Have him go in the 2-gap. Line up over the 2-gap. Line up over the 5-gap. Move him around. Make sure, and when you do that, remember this. Here, let me show you this. So when you move a guy like that around, and this is HR, and this is, say, Josh Sweat. Okay? And you have this right here. That's Hassan Reddick. He's outside of Josh Sweat. What has to happen when you move this guy around, like we were talking, Seth and I, yesterday, this guy goes from a 5 technique out wider to a 7 or a 9 technique. Why? You can't let guys get outside the edge on you. So you got to keep outside perimeter. You move Reddick inside, blitz him in here, take him over here. The more you move him, though, like this, you got to drop a safety down. It means your safeties have to be very good. So when you're moving a guy like Reddick around, and this is what they're saying, they're talking about being more versatile. When you're moving a guy like Reddick around, okay, your free safety has to come down or has to get length. He's got to be secondary help. And your strong safety has to come to the middle of the field. You don't really have the experience back here to do all this. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use, because those, hey, what I'm saying to you, you have to see that within split seconds. I could sit here and draw it up on a piece of paper for you, and it's no problem. But you've got to see that with disguise coverages and motion. It's not that easy. And your middle linebacker, Nakobe Dean, he's got to know that. So do you really think that Nakobe Dean has seen enough football that he can move fronts around, slide fronts, spot motion, strong side, weak side? You think he's smart enough to know that? I shouldn't say that. I think he's smart enough, but he hasn't seen it enough. Like, he doesn't have game reps in NFL games identifying that. You know, Jonathan Vilma told me a great game that they used to play with Manning. Manning liked to get down to the 5-second mark. He knew it. So they would never set their front or their backfield until Manning got to 5 seconds. That's how they beat him in the Super Bowl, besides that onside kick. Every single time Jonathan Vilma got to 5 seconds, Manning had to set the blocking scheme, and he had to put him down in set. When he put him down in set, they would go to their formations. You know how skilled and smart you have to be as a linebacker? And I say smart and skilled because you've seen the reps that you have to be, and the patience you have to have at middle linebacker when you're somebody like Jonathan Vilma and you see that and you're waiting for Manning. Man, I'll tell you what, assholes pucker on stuff like that. 5 seconds, Peyton Manning. If you're wrong, he's going to throw a 25-yard touchdown strike on you. So you have to have the confidence in what you're doing back there. Now, you have Marcus Lattimore back there, and that helps a lot when you got somebody rolling around like that back there. But you've got to be – you think Dean has that kind of NFL knowledge that he's going to be able to set fronts like that against Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. So Nolan Smith, to me – and look, up in his game, he hasn't even played it down yet in the NFL, so it's probably unfair. But I think he could be a secret weapon this year for the Eagles. I really like him. I do. I like his leadership. I like everything about him. Number 2, breakout Eagles, 2023. Hey, Tone, do you think this would be crazy if I said this about DeAndre Swift? Behind that O-line, 1,200 yards, 700 receiving. Man, that's 1,900 total yards. Whew. Dude, he's the all-pro back if he does that. Health would be the problem. We talked at the top of the show about it. If he has a breakout year like that, 1,900 yards in total offense, that would be unbelievable. And I totally think he's got the ability to do this. Jam goes, according to you, he'll get hurt in game 3. No. Not according to me. According to his history, you mean? No. No, JM. According to his history, not me. You have that wrong. You totally have that wrong. Not me. His history, you mean. I think Swift maxes out at 1,300 yards, 8 rushing, and 500. Whew, man. Sills, Mailata, Parsons in coverage. Okay. That's why I want to see a breakout year. Be healthy. Have that breakout year that I think Howie thinks your chances are of being that. So again, I want him to have the breakout year. In other words, according to some people in here, I want him to have a breakout year. And when someone goes, according to me, no. According to your history, and I'm talking only about DeAndre Swift right now. According to his history, got to be healthy. And I think if he's healthy, I think he's got the ability to do some really great things. Okay? I really do. I think he's got the ability. Here's my last guy. I think Cam Jurgens. Cam Jurgens, to me, offensive guard. I want to see a breakout year. Look at what he has in front of him. Look what he has to the side of him. And look what he has behind him. And look what he has in the coaching room. I have never seen a player set up more for success than Cam Jurgens. You got a Hall of Fame center, a Hall of Fame right tackle, a quarterback who was in the conversation for the most valuable player award, and you got the best offensive line coach in the NFL. I don't know, kid. If it ain't you, you're going to be a perennial backup for the rest of your career. He's got to win that job. And he's got to star at that job. Did you hear what Jason Kelce said? Now, do you think this was a shot at Cam Jurgens? You hear what Kelce said? One of the smartest players I've ever played with was Isaac Seumalo. Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why Kelce said that? This is why Kelce said that. When you're out there and you're in even OTAs and you notice a guy not getting his head front side, maybe a step late, maybe asking more questions than what you've had the last couple of years with Seumalo to your right. Those are glaring notices. That offensive line worked like the Philharmonic. It's a beautiful thing to watch their offensive line. And when you have one tuba player or one cello player or one violinist that's not in sync, you notice it. And I think that's why Kelsey brought that up. Okay? Hey, I don't care how talented you are. If you don't know what to do, you're asking questions. I'm not saying you shouldn't during OTAs. You should. But what I'm saying to you, you notice it. The 5 starters of the Georgia Bulldog defense now in Eagles D were a better defense than yours and Jerome's. Okay, we won 2 national titles too. Our guys went on to play in the NFL and star in the NFL. Who starred from Georgia off those defenses so far? Let me know. Let me know when you find them all pros. Benny Blades, I think he was an all-pro 5 times. Just let me know. Hey, by the way, tell your boy Jordan Davis to make sure you put the donut down and then see if he can play 50 plays. How you doing? Hour 3 coming up. Bruce Arians will join us. Way to go, though, JM. You know you get under my skin when you talk Jerome, so it's all good. We're going to talk to Bruce Arians. We'll get his thoughts. Still a bunch of stuff to hit to. Power Hour number 3. Keep it here on the National